welcome back to Read, Rant, and Review. Lazy edition, as you can see. Didn't bother to put on makeup. Not gonna. The good news is that one of my jobs has been giving me a lot of opportunities to make videos for them. Bad news is that because I'm doing that, I don't have a lot of time for doing this. So basically I'm just gonna kind of cram reviews in whenever I can, and you get me however I am on any given day. So today you get me wearing a Garrus shirt and no makeup. And that's probably gonna stay that way. The next two videos are going to be shot in the same day, so that's why I'm gonna look the same. Also, I need a new intro. One of the big problems is that I don't have any ideas for it. I can't use Eye of the Tiger anymore because YouTube will hunt me down and steal my organs or something. I don't know why YouTube has so much hate in its heart for anyone who uses music. I mean, I understand, but at the same time, YouTube just takes it to a whole other level of crazy. So I can't use Eye of the Tiger anymore, so I have to come up with a different intro, and I don't know what it's gonna be. If you have any ideas, all three of you who watch these, leave thoughts in the comments, because yeah, I really don't know what I want to do for a new intro. Anyway, a couple videos back, or one video back, something like that, I read The Girl of Fire and Thorns, and just consequently, I read two more books that are really sort of reminded me of that, with the female main character who's maybe not like so kick-ass like Katniss. She's not just like owning everyone at, martial prowess. And so the next two reviews are going to be of those two books. First one, I'm just going to go in the order that I read them, is The Queen of the Tearling. Let's read the back using my handy-dandy laptop, shall we? An untested young princess must claim her throne, learn to become a queen, and combat a malevolent sorceress in an epic battle between light and darkness in this spectacular debut, the first novel in a trilogy. Yeah, it's another trilogy. Young Kalsea, I think that's how you pronounce it, was raised in hiding after the death of her mother, Queen Alyssa. Alyssa? I don't know. Oh no! It's Alyssa from The Girl of Fire and Thorns. Shit, they're connected! Far from the intrigues of the royal keep and in the care of two devoted servants who pledged their lives to protect her. Growing up in a cottage deep in the woods, Kalsea knows little of her kingdom's haunted past, or that its fate will soon rest in her hands. Long ago, Kalsea's forefathers sailed away from a decaying world to establish a new land free of modern technology. 300 years later, this feudal society is divided into three fearful nations who pay duties to the fourth, the powerful Mortmain, ruled by the cunning Red Queen. Now, on Kalsea's 19th birthday, the tattered remnants of the Queen's Guard, loyal soldiers who protect the throne, have appeared to escort the princess on a perilous journey to the capital, to ascend to her rightful place as the new Queen of the Tearling. This description is still going. Oh my gosh. Though of royal blood and in possession of the Tear Sapphire, a jewel of immense power and magic, Kalsea has never felt more uncertain of her ability to rule. But the shocking evil she discovers in the heart of her realm will precipitate an act of immense daring, throwing the entire kingdom into turmoil, unleashing the Red Queen's vengeance. A cabal of enemies with an array of deadly weapons, from crimson-caped assassins to the darkest blood magic, plots to destroy her. But Kalsea is growing in strength and stealth, her steely resolve earning her loyal allies, including the Queen's Guard led by the enigmatic Lazarus and the intriguing outlaw simply known as the Fetch. Kalsea's quest to save her kingdom and meet her destiny has not only just begun, riddled with mysteries, betrayals, and treacherous battles. Kalsea's journey is a trial by fire that will either forge a legend or destroy her. Holy cow, I think you can tell just from that description a problem that the book has. Long-windedness. Let's talk about The Queen of the Tearling. First of all, it seems to be, at least on Goodreads, you either love it or you hate it. And as so often happens with books that people either love or loathe, I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it. It was different from what I had been reading. It was different enough from A Girl of Fire and Thorns, to keep my interest. It was okay. Nobody wants to hear that it was okay. Let's talk about the details. So it is nice to have another female lead character who is not just a badass there to beat everyone up. It's a little sad that Kalsea doesn't have a lot of anything else going for her. She's not hugely intelligent although she likes to read in a world where nobody reads. She's not like particularly skilled or I feel adequately prepared to be the queen. So it's the unfortunate thing is she's really got like nothing going for her as a character. She's got convictions. She does have convictions and she will stick by them even if that's not a good idea. And I guess that is an admirable character trait. She's certain of what should happen. I like that Kalsea has to deal with the mistakes of her mother, who was a horrible queen and got her people into all sorts of disastrous problems, including making them subservient to Mortmain and the Red Queen, signing a treaty that would allow Mortmain to take from their society, just take people to be slaves. Essentially, Kalsea's mother just screwed over the entire kingdom and failed at every turn, and thus Kalsea is going into a world where everybody thinks that she is going to be equally as much of a failure and nobody thinks she's going to succeed, and that's a tough thing to go into. Because she really has, aside from the guard, no one left, she doesn't know who she can trust, probably no one, and she has to take a lot of leaps of faith about who she can trust. From her handmaiden to the guy who leads her horse, you know, there's nobody left because everybody abandoned hope and the castle and her mother because her mother was so terrible at her job. Let's talk about the Fetch real fast. The Fetch reminds me of like the King of Thieves characters from a lot of the like Tortall books, Tamara Pierce books. He is just the dashing rogue essentially. Some people theorize, because Kalsea doesn't know who her father is, and there's a mystery about who's her father. Some people theorize that maybe the Fetch is her father. I think he's described as a little bit too young to be her father, but I could be remembering it wrong. My theory is that the Fetch is like the Dread Pirate Roberts. The Fetch is just a title, and different people take the title throughout the years, and maybe a version of the Fetch was Kalsea's father, but not this one. I'm not entirely certain what purpose the Fetch serves in this first book, other than for Kalsea to have a crush on him and for him to kind of come to her rescue a couple of times. Like again, he's the dashing rogue character, so he's out doing his own thing, being the Prince of Thieves out there, and everybody likes him, even though he's kind of a dick and steals from people, and he's not Robin Hood. He doesn't steal from the rich and give to the poor. He just steals from the rich and then keeps it. I felt like the pacing in this book, even though it could be rather long-winded, wasn't terrible. There would be a lot of politics, but then there was action to break up the politics, and I felt like they struck a pretty good balance. Right about the time I was getting sick of the politics, the action would come in, and vice versa, so it did okay. It did okay. The unfortunate thing about Kalsea's character not being kick-ass is that she spends a lot of the book just getting the shit kicked out of her. She has like several assassination attempts against her because everyone hates her, and her guards are not that good at their job, and so she just gets beat all to hell and just spends the entire book trying to recover from injuries only to get new injuries, and that can get a little annoying. I mean, you know how I feel about characters, how they should, if they get hurt, the injury should matter and should stay with them or whatever. But Kalsea gets so hurt so much, and you're spending so much time with her recovering from injuries that it kind of gets frustrating. You feel like she can't do anything because she's always recovering from injuries. I'm also really bothered by the fact that like halfway through we find out that she has like magical powers, like this power of prophecy and like something to do with her necklace, like she can make it glow, and she uses it for big magic at the very end, and I was annoyed by that because I was like, here I thought we would just have a person who is normal just trying their best to do their job, and instead she's also magic, and that it ruined her character for me a little bit. It was like, why does she have to be magic? Why can't she get this information from a messenger, or even somebody who she didn't even know was loyal and turns out to be loyal? There are other ways for her to get the information that she gets with her psychic powers, and I was really surprised that we went the psychic powers route. It kind of ruined it for me. I really did like that with the kingdom being in such horrifying disrepair that like anybody could turn on Kalsea at any moment, including her guard and her captain of the guard, who I thought had a really interesting dynamic because he didn't think much of her because she's just his princess, she has no idea what's going on with the world, why would he think anything of her? And so he kind of runs the kingdom. Like, she'll say something and he'll be like, no, we're not doing that. And she really has no choice but to listen to him, because what else is she gonna do? Without him, she is fucking dead. So, and even with him, she's almost fucking dead. So without him, she'd just be snuffed out, 2 seconds, gone. So she knows she needs him, but he exerts a lot of power over her, and it's really, I like the dynamic of her being like, well, I'm the queen, but I have nothing, no basis for these people to respect me, no basis for them to listen to my decisions. And you can see it slowly happening throughout the book that people are maybe starting to take her more seriously and starting to listen to her decisions toward the end of the book. But it's a cool dynamic to know that the Mace, who is her like personal bodyguard, he could just decide just to completely screw her over one day, and she could do shit about it. It's a cool dynamic. It struck me as really interesting and unusual. Don't know if it was intentional, but it was there. But oh my gosh, am I so fucking sick of heroines who are like, oh, I'm so plain, oh, I'm so ugly. It's like, let me just find out what the character looks like and leave it at that. Let me form opinions. For once, let me form opinions about a female character without being told by her that she's just, oh, I'm hideous because I have brown hair and a round face. Oh, dude, look at me. It's like, for fuck's sake, just describe her and let me form opinions about her on my own. I will undoubtedly think that she is fine because I don't buy that she's plain. I think she looks normal, and it doesn't matter because she's the fucking queen. Speaking of queens, Kalsea is a stupid name for a queen. It just is. It's too modern, and I think I maybe understand why it is. We'll talk about that in a second. But Kalsea? Queen Kalsea? It just, her name doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with any of the other names in the world either. It's just so modern. It's like a high schooler's name, not the name of a queen in a fantasy story. I know, I'm weird. Names are my thing. Kalsea just doesn't work for me. So let's talk about the characters, because the characters to me are the most important part of a story, and unfortunately I had so much trouble telling any of the side characters apart. Kalsea has this large group of 13, I think, guards who come find her. And they kind of bumblefuck around and they're kind of terrible at their jobs, which some people have pointed out, you know, oh, they're shitty guards, why are they her guards? But to be honest, like, I feel like these were like the dregs. These were like the last bastion who were hoping that she would return, and they honestly didn't expect her to, and so when they did, they are woefully unprepared to protect her. Like, I feel like that was actually very true, because this kingdom is in such terrible shape, and nobody was expecting the princess to come back, and now here she is, and her guards are like, fuck, how do we defend a queen? We've never, what? I don't know. I know they claim to be like this elite group, but do you see any other groups around to compare them to? So hell yeah, they're elite. But anyway, most of the characters blend together, and like, I can't tell who's who at any given time. They're described to me, but the descriptions go right out of my head because all of them have the same personality. Like, they're the same person, just with different names. And even the main characters can be boiled down to one-word descriptions. Kalsea can be described as good. She is good. She's inherently good. She is good personified. She will always make the decision that seems like the best, fluffiest, good answer. The Mace is a badass. The Fetch is a charming badass. The Handmaiden is mysterious. Pen, the guard, is loyal. They've all got like one thing about them, and that's it. And there are so many characters that I couldn't give a shit about any of them. I also had a lot of trouble picturing the characters in my head because I felt like they weren't adequately described at any point. Like that we were given small details, like I think one of the guards is black. But I couldn't for the life of me tell you which. And one of them's a redhead, I think? I don't know. Not very adequately described and not differentiated from each other, like, at all. So this book almost succeeded. Almost had me fooled until I realized what was happening. The book is really good at masking the fact that everything Kalsea tries, she succeeds at. it makes it feel as though she's not succeeding, but in reality, everything she wants, she eventually gets. Let's talk about the Red Queen. The Red Queen is evil. She's evilly, evilly evil. Evil is her character trait. Why does she do anything? Because she's evil. Kalsea is good. The Red Queen is evil. And also sounds like she's from Alice in Wonderland. You gotta think about naming your character the Red Queen. What are people gonna associate her with? Why did you do that? Maybe this will turn out to be Alice in Wonderland somehow, I don't know. Also, the Red Queen doesn't feel like a threat. Ever. Half the time she has no idea where Kalsea even is. And then, like, at the very end, it's a little spoiler here, the Red Queen is like, summons a demon. And the demon is like, yeah, Kalsea's gonna defeat you, you're screwed, you shouldn't even try. And I'm like, well, I feel like the Red Queen's a real threat in future books. If the demon she just summoned is like, just give up and go home, I'm sorry, Kalsea's gonna beat you. Why would you have a villain that is so evil and also simultaneously be the least effectual person in the world? I don't buy that she subjugated these other kingdoms because she does nothing. She's got a henchman who is bad at his job too. Okay, so let's talk about the world. The world at first seems like your standard fantasy world, but then as you get into it, you find out that it is either a dystopia or they're on another planet. I'm actually leaning slightly towards other planet. I know the other books are out right now and other people know the answer to this question, but I haven't read them yet. I don't know if I will, but I'm leaning towards another planet just for my own theories, because they keep talking about them making this crossing and going a huge distance to get where they are. So other planet seems correct to me. Also, it would explain why they have very few things like books. I mean, apparently, stupidly, when they got to the New World, they burned a bunch of books for fuel, even though there's fucking trees everywhere. But maybe they were like these space age people, maybe they didn't know that you can burn trees? I don't know. Anyway, if they were from outer space, that would explain why they have such limited stuff anymore. Limited technology, they don't really have anything. Like, if it was Earth, you'd think they would be like, you know, oh, there's a wrecked server bank somewhere or something like that, but you never really see any of the technology. I feel like it was almost just a really cheap way for the author to use like modern terms and modern stuff for the characters to know about this stuff, like hair dye, for the characters to know about this stuff because it's from a world that they knew once. And I'm like, it feels like cheating. It feels like cheating. It feels lazy is what it feels like. And of course, because this book is part of a trilogy, it leaves a lot of questions unanswered in hopes that you will read the other books. Will I read the other books? It's a solid maybe. If I get my hands on one, I'll probably read it. I'll probably review it. And if not, I won't. I'm not going to go out of my way to find it. Versus the next book that we're going to talk about, which I actually think I will go out of my way to find the sequels. But that's for next episode, whenever that happens. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.